Welcome back everyone to the live streaming of the Super Taikyu Championship Round 2 NAPAC Fuji Super TEC 24 hours race. My name is Rebecca. I'll be the navigator for this program, and we have a commentator. All of you wants to hear his voice. I have.
Hi Rebecca, this is João Paulo de Oliveira. It's nice to be back here with you to cover the final 2.5 hours of this Fuji 24-hour race.
Oliveira-san, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, actually more than 22 hours out of 24 hours has passed. How do you see the race so far? We still have like 2 hours left.
Yeah, we have one main battle going on at the moment, which is between the car number 1 and the car number 23. Both the AMG GT3s are fighting for overall victory in the race in the STX class. They're in the same lap, and Motojima is now driving car number 23. He's closing that gap to the car in front. So we may have a good battle towards the end of this race. So let's hope that's going to be something to look forward to. We had rain at night. We had the difficult weather, but most cars got through it without much trouble. There was no major incidents. So a trouble-free race so far.
You know, despite the wet conditions and the plus went through the night race, actually, I think there has been there wasn't major accident so far. Why do you think is this? Because it's quite tough.
Yeah, I think I think the rain wasn't that strong. It wasn't like the kind of rain that the visibility is still pretty good. And also, Fuji is a track that offers good visibility at night. There's some good lights, some good illumination there at night. So I think the drivers managed to see very well, which is a good factor. And also, this is the 7th time that there is a Fuji 24-hour event. So I think the drivers are getting more and more experienced. A lot of the drivers are drivers that have been doing this race for many years now. So I think they're a lot of the drivers are getting good experience in this race, and they learn that this is a long endurance race. You have to bring the car to the end of the race.
Yes, I'm amazed that a safety car hasn't been deployed yet on the race course.
That is very surprising. I mean, it's a 24-hour race. I don't know if I recall from history that I remember a clean 24-hour race without major accidents, safety cars, or interventions. I've been to this race before. We had a lot of safety cars, and also we had one year here which we had a really big rain overnight, which we had to actually stop the race for almost 8-9 hours because of the rain was so strong. And Fuji weather can be sometimes tricky. We look at the background now. We see a little bit of cloud formation in the back. Let's hope that the weather will hold towards the end of the race. We see the ST1 car there of KTM. They are the only car in that class, but they're being pulled back into the pits. They're not losing position in class, but I think their target is always to have a clean race. So unfortunate for them, they're being pulled back into the pits.
Yeah, actually, it's a long way of the 24 hours, and a bit of concern about mental and physically how they cope with. And I'm just curious, is there differences in the mental and the physical burden between a team of 4 and team of 6?
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. I mean, a team of 6, you have you share the hours much more between all drivers, and you drive less per stint. A team of 4, that means you're going to be driving at least 6-7 hours at every stint. Between some drivers will drive a little bit more than the other, so that can have its effects at the end of the race, because you don't sleep very well at the circuit, you don't have enough rest. You just gotta drink a lot of coffee and try to catch up and try to be awake. But it's hard on everyone. A lot of the mechanics, they have to stay sharp overnight, because if there's trouble, the car has to come in to the pits very, very quickly. Sometimes there is very little to almost no alarm that he's coming into the pits, and then the mechanics have to be sharp and ready. So I think a 24-hour race, after a 24-hour race, everybody is going to be really, really tired.
Yes, yes, I guess so. And of course, there's a damage to the the racer and the technical as well, and also the damage to the course, course surfaces, and of course to the body itself of the machine as well. I've just seen big tape is fixing the body and everything.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, this is 24-hour racing. It's so important to keep the car in good shape towards the end of the race. Now we see the cars have little marks of little hits here and there with other cars, but mostly no major damage. And one thing that you can notice when the car comes onto the straight, now you will see, once we have the footage of the car coming into the camera, you see on both sides, mostly on the left side of the track, the upper side of the track, you will see a lot of rubber
Yeah.
that's been,
From the
like
tire,
from the
damaged
tires that has
tires.
been, overnight. You see, like there on the
Yes, on the right-hand
outside,
side, on the
yes,
yes.
you see a lot of the rubber that's being used through this race.
Yes.
We hear that the tire manufacturer has brought 4,000 sets of dry tires for this weekend, and 2,500 sets of wet tires.
What
So they
a
were ready for the
number.
rain.
Yes. All right. So the race is remaining time of the race is less than 2 hours now. Hopefully, no, big accidents or nothing like that, and see we till the end.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, so one of the exciting battles at the moment is between the car number 1 and car number 23 in the STX class. They are currently in the same lap. The gap is 28 seconds, 28 and a half seconds.
Still so close.
But we have Naoya Gamo driving the rookie AM GT3. He is a driver who is coming from Super GT, has a lot of experience in the AMG Mercedes car. So he is for sure going to be very fast in that car. Motojima has been closing that gap until this moment, and until they had the driver change on that car, because they just had a driver change to Gamo, and now the gap is stabilizing around 28 to 30 seconds. Just went up to 30 seconds now. So I think that is going to stabilize. So now I think it's going to be up to the final stints, the 2 stints to go, that we're going to see who is going to be driving and how is that going to play out.
Yes, that side of the strategy is very important for car 23, really.
For sure, yeah. It really plays out how the team made the strategy early on in the race, because if they put their main drivers, their fast drivers, early on in the race, sometimes they cannot use them because their hours are limited. So towards the end of the race, do they still have enough time to use or not? So this is what we're going to see in the final couple of hours here.
Yes, here's Gamo is driving car number 1. And followed by the car 23, we have our Lexus GT3.
Yeah, the Lexus is in 3rd place. That Lexus is currently 1 lap down on the 2nd place. So I think, bearing any issues from the top 2, I think it's very difficult to, in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, to close that gap. I think that's nearly impossible. But Kazuto Kotaka is now driving that Lexus, and I think they are safe in that 3rd place, and he's doing some consistent lap times. The lap times between the top 2, Gamu and Motojima, are currently exactly the same. Very, very close, 43.6 and 43.7. So they're pushing both very hard. They're both trying to win this race.
And followed by the 5 machine, of the STX, we have another 5 machines from STZ. And there is Hiranaka Katsuyuki of the Supra GT4 is leading STZ.
Yep, he's in front of that group at the moment, leading from Yoshida from the Green Brave. So Yoshida is 1 lap down at the moment. So also Shade Racing having some room to breathe here. I think they, they can take the car to the end now. If they have no trouble, they should be able to win it. And then in 3rd place, we have Naniwa Denso Team Impo Z, currently driving Bertrand Baguette. So he's coming from Super GT 500 on the Team Impo from GT 500 and driving here the GT4, that's the STZ class for Team Impo as well. And in the other classes, we have some big gaps. So in the STQ class, the car number 92 of Takamitsu Matsui GR Supra Racing Concept is currently leading that class. The gap is 31 laps to the Nissan Z 230. That's currently being driven by Katsumasa Shio. That's a star lineup there. They have Chio Katsumasa, Daiki Sasaki, Ronnie Quintarelli. It's a really big star lineup, and very exciting to see, so much interest and so much, many good drivers coming to this race, attending the 24 Hours of Fuji.
Quite a lot of people are featuring car number 32. H2 Concept Corolla. Currently, Ogura Yasuhiro is driving this car.
Yep.
Yes, I saw a bit of like a mechanical trouble during this 22 hours, and we've seen it in a pit.
Yeah, they had some trouble early on when Kondo Masahiko was driving, right? So he, just to remind everyone, he's my team owner in Super GT. But he has some driving experience. He has driving experience in the past, driving Formula Nippon and Super GT, the former Super GT JGTC series. So he does have driving experience, and he's competitive here. But unfortunately, they run into some trouble early on. The car stopped on track, and they were back. Now we see the car number 15 doing some work there. I wonder what they're trying to do under the car.
Okabe Chidosha.
Yeah, so car number 15. So they're 2nd in the ST3 class. You see how much rubber on the front of that car. That's all that's coming from both sides of the track. That's being lifted from cars in front. And it's actually really cool when the race ends. You get pictures of these cars as they finish. You don't want to clean them. You just want to keep them as they finish, because that's the real spirit. That's the real spirit of 24 hours racing. I think we see, no, that's not the 32 leaving the pits, but this is the rookie racing that's leading the race now, approaching the first corner. And Motojima behind is, closing the gap slightly every lap now. The gap was 30 seconds a few laps ago, now down to 26 seconds. So
it's not too bad.
This is very interesting, especially going into the final 2 hours of the race. Let's see what strategies are going to be played out.
Yes. So one driver can only drive 3 hours at once, yes?
Yeah.
So Motojima is driving long for now, so might have a driver's change.
Yeah, so if he's approaching that 3-hour window,
Yes.
then they will need a driver changing that car, and then I don't know who is going to come in next. So that can be, a big factor in this race.
Now, I'd like to mention once again, this race is very unique and it's very exciting, and it's kind of like a very friendly race, and never see this kind of race maybe here in Japan and also overseas. And a lot of people are now attracted to this race, even from the overseas.
Yeah, I think the spirit of 24-hour racing is a little different from those short races that we have. I mean, Super Taikyu has a few longer races, a few like 6-hour racing, and which differs a little bit from Super GT, which is it's not a sprint racing, but we do have 3-hour races. We do have 500-mile races. So some slightly longer races, but it's all made flat out. You don't really save so much equipment. In a 24-hour race, you have to think differently. You have to be very careful at how you use your brakes. You have to be very careful at how you touch the curbs, how you go over high curbs, for example, because that can damage the car. That can, break something that you don't want that thing to happen in a 24-hour race. You want to, as much as possible, save the equipment, and especially in this part of the race. This is the final part of the race. If you're fighting for a position, if you're fighting for victory, you want to have a car that handles well. You want to have a car that's working well. The brakes are functioning well. So if you saved brakes until now and the car that you're fighting against is struggling on the brakes, you can control that and you can overtake. So this is this is the spirit, 24-hour racing, but for sure a much more friendly atmosphere, more laid back compared to the very tense 3-hour racing that we have, full of action and drama.
And more, star drivers are participating in this race, and of course, a lot of like amateur drivers are still participating, and it's kind of like a mix with everything, and not in just in Japan, drivers from overseas are participating, and that's very exciting part.
That is exciting, but this is exactly what 24-hour racing is. It's like it's a combination of drivers with professional drivers, amateur drivers, drivers with a lot more experience, and you have to take all of that into consideration. When you're going through traffic, when you're going through slower cars, you do have to keep in mind, if you're coming from behind, if you're overtaking, you're always responsible. You're always responsible. Even if the car in front of you does something unpredictable, you kind of have to expect that because he might be an amateur. So, this is very important to understand for pro drivers, and partially why a lot of the pro drivers sometimes blame themselves and are very strong on themselves when accidents happen, because you can avoid it sometimes, but it might be too late. Sometimes you can't predict a move that a driver with less experience, an amateur driver, may change the direction in the last second, and you don't know. But
especially where there's a lot of traffic on the
especially with a lot of traffic, especially under caution. As we were talking yesterday, sometimes in the full course yellow, for example, drivers with more experience manage to use that full course yellow to their advantage by using exactly the right timing to slow the car down and to reaccelerate after the full course yellow. And drivers with less experience can get caught in that situation, because when you're approaching the full course yellow, you have a countdown of 10 seconds. And in that countdown, the pro driver will know that if you start braking with 3 seconds before the full course yellow actually starts, you're going to be under the speed limit. But a lot of the known the amateur drivers don't know that. So there's room, you know, to gain there. So so these are the things that you always have to keep under consideration.
Yes.
The car number 15 is back there.
Yeah, this back.
Yeah,
And doing good.
Yeah, he's second place now in the ST3 class.
And not just drivers and a team from overseas. There's quite a lot of people are getting very, you know, they are enjoying from overseas as well. And here is the chat message from overseas fans. Thank you for doing this live streaming in English. We didn't have this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the race is becoming more and more popular outside of Japan. As you see, there's foreign drivers, more interest from foreign drivers, Super GT drivers. This year we have Ronnie Quintarelli, 4-time Super GT champion, Bertrand Baguette, Super GT champion. We have Giuliano Alesi as well, you know, bringing out a lot of attention as well to this race, you know. So we have a lot of drivers that are becoming interested to drive this race. And you know, in a way, even if you drive a faster car like Super GT, which, you know, has more downforce, in a race like this, you can gain a lot of experience of, you know, of the whole experience of 24-hour racing. So this is an opportunity that these drivers have to learn, you know, in case they go to, you know, maybe a 24-hour race of Le Mans or Nürburgring. They also learn a lot doing this race. That's car number 17, which is currently leading the ST5 class. And the car number 65 is in the same lap. So they're 2 minutes and 10 seconds. That's the gap. So there is another class that is fighting for victory. They're in the same lap. So this is something that we have to keep an eye on the last 2 hours.
Here's the STQ.
Yeah, we're on board with the BRZ. CNF.
It's fun to see inside the machine.
CNF car, this carbon neutral fuel. That's the Subaru, driven by Yamauchi, who also drives the Subaru in Super GT. Something that's worth to point out here is, I mean, it's a shame for the Nissan teams because both of the 25 and the 26 cars, first the 25 car retired in the hands of Tsugiyo Matsuda, the Raffiné Nissan Mechanic Challenge Z, Nismo GT4. So he got involved in an accident early on in the race. He was hit from another car in the last sector, and unfortunately the damage in that car was a little bit too extensive and they could not repair it. So he's not continuing in this race. And the other car, the car number 26, also Raffiné Nissan Mechanic Challenge Z, was leading the race at that point in the hands of Ryoichiro Tomita. But unfortunately, they are out of the race as well. So
both Nissan GT4 are out of the race.
Yeah, a real big shame because they were so strong early on in the race. So for them, you know, it's a frustrating 24-hour race, especially when you have two cars and both of them are out. You know, because normally if one is out, then you put all your attention and all your hopes on the other one. But unfortunately, in this case for them, is both of them are out. So yeah, it's next year.
Next year, yes, definitely. Okay, this is on board.
On board again with Hideki Yamauchi.
I have no idea what's going on in this machine.
Well, there's a lot of buttons there in the middle. You see, like it's super interesting for me to see because he's shifting. There is a H pattern gearbox, which I absolutely love it. And you know, for these, I mean, I would love to drive something like that because it it's part of racing heritage, you know, and sometimes I have the opportunity to drive cars with like a gearbox like that at the Nismo Festival at the end of the
Oh,
year.
yes.
And this is really, really fun because you get to experience a different kind of driving that we used to have more that in the past. Nowadays, you know, everything is so high tech with the butterfly behind the steering wheel and so on. But this kind of driving really brings another kind of technique because you use a bit more the clutch. You use the clutch shifting down. You can brake with the right foot because sometimes you're using heel and toe, which was something that I learned to do in the past, but we don't. I think drivers nowadays, they don't know what that is.
Wow.
Because the engine does it alone these days. So so the heel and toe was something that we used to do in the past just to keep the rev of the engine while you were doing braking. So you would tap the throttle every time that you would shift down, and you would keep the wheels from locking up or to have a smooth braking and help the engine coming into the corner. But these days, we just have everything electronic. So when you're shifting down, the engine is doing it by itself, by the computer program. So, you know, it's all the GT3s are like that, the GT500s are like that. So to drive a car like that is really a lot of fun because you do everything manually.
Yes. But you have to be very, you know, get used to this kind of machine.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I grew up driving like that,
Oh,
so for
right.
me, it's no problem. You know, basically, one of the advantages of, you know, staying in racing for a long time is if I go back, I
Yeah.
actually have a lot of fun. While drivers these days, they'll probably go like, no, I don't want to drive that because it's not fun for a lot of the guys.
Yeah. I was just wondering, you know, Kondo-san, Masahiko Kondo-san is this time driving this totally new car for him. This is H2 concept. Would that be very difficult for him to control?
For sure. I mean, if you haven't driven in a long time, for sure it's difficult to get used to it, especially in a 24-hour race. You know, when there's a little bit of pressure because it's the work of the whole year that has been put in one race. So when you drive for the first time in the year in a 24-hour race and you're not used to it, you have to be extra careful. So I'm sure Kondo-san felt some pressure there. I will talk to him after the race.
Yes, yes.
And I will.
You should let us know.
I will ask him how he felt as a racing driver.
Okay. So here is a STQ car 55 was in the pit.
Yeah, they had some trouble there.
Yes. Kazuhiro Terakawa driving or Mazda Spirit Racing.
So Gamo is leading this race in the rookie racing, and his gap that was 30 seconds about 10 laps ago is now down to 18 seconds.
Yes.
So I have to point out that Motojima is doing a great job in this race. Early on in the race, we saw how he was fighting with Kataoka. Remember in that first stint, you know, there was a really good battle between them. And he is now closing that gap to Gamu here on the rookie racing. But Gamu has a lot of experience driving the AMG car. He drives this car in the Super GT Championship, so he knows it very well. He knows all the tricks. And Motojima closing that gap, so doing a solid job.
We can see the difference between different classes of the, you know, the speed differences between the different class.
I think, you know, when you're driving the STX class and you're coming through the ST5, the gap is so big, they almost look like they're not moving on track. So it's easier to judge when you're in the faster car, it's easier to judge the slower cars because they almost don't have enough speed to move so fast in the track. But as the cars get faster and faster, for example, the STZ class, they're also faster in the corners as well. So then it becomes more difficult, more challenging to overtake because then they can make something a little bit more unpredictable and then accidents can happen. But yeah, I mean, Motojima again, like closing that gap now down to 17 seconds. We could have different tire strategies also coming towards the end of this race. I
All
think
right.
it's possible that we haven't seen, but it's possible that Gamu is on an older set of tires and they might change it for the last stint. You know, this is something we don't know. We're gonna see as they come to the pits. Now 1 hour and a half remaining till the end of this race.
Yes, cut one.
So they will do one more
1 hour
time.
and
They will
30
come into the
seconds.
pits once again.
In terms of the Super Taikyu, is there a limitation of the number of the tire the team can use?
Yeah, I think for the 24-hour race is I don't know for the 24-hour race, because for sure they have a different amount of sets that they can use for this race between free practice and race. I would imagine at least 15 to 20 sets, you know, for free practice and race and so on. Yeah, we could check that info.
Yes. When it comes to like a Super GT and other races, they have a limitation.
We have limitations, but we have much less sets of tires because
very tight,
because the races are shorter and yeah, and to make the regulation also you know, fair to everyone.
Yes,
it's like
it makes race very exciting as well.
We have six sets for the whole weekend, so you have to think very well what to do and when to put the tires in.
So we have a car 23 with a Motojima.
You know, from the beginning of the race, we saw Motojima in that car, and now we see Motojima again. I wonder how much he was driving at night as well, because yeah, he must be tired. But I know Motojima is also doing bike training, like as I do. We are good friends because he also does a lot of bike training, and we are both supported by the same bike brand, Specialized. So he's also a rider like me, and I think, you know, once you do a lot of bike training, it really helps into long races like this, because it's a
what is the advantage of doing it?
It's endurance, because you know, on a bike you can do 5 hours or 6 hours. You can have a long day in a hot weather. You sweat a lot. It's really good for your cardio. And I think, you know, once you do that, for myself, I can speak that I have improved my fitness in the last few years on cycling, and I feel much better on longer races and doing long stints. And I'm sure that Motojima feels the same way, you know, so I think he feels very comfortable in the car to do these long stints.
Very tough.
Yeah. But the GT3 cars, the STX class, they have AC, so they have air conditioning in the car, so they are slightly more comfortable. You know, they do have some cooling coming into the helmet and into the racing suit.
Okay.
So it's yeah,
I mean, the
nice.
conditions of each class or like each machine are quite different?
Quite different, yeah. So some cars don't have AC. Some cars have...
That's pretty tough.
Some cars have like a fan.
Yes.
Some cars... I mean, I've driven some cars that were like really, really hot, like a sauna inside.
Wow.
And it's not... The limitation on that car didn't come from the fitness. It just comes from the heat. The body heat just comes too high, almost like a fever kind of temperature, up to 38 degrees, and then it becomes dangerous, because then you're feeling not 100%, and your head is a little bit too hot. So it can be tricky making decisions and judging the situations and stuff. So it's much nicer to drive a cooler car for sure.
I guess so.
When you're wearing all that stuff, you know, we're wearing the racing suit, you're wearing all the fireproof underlayer, and you have the helmet on, you need to have like a good ventilation in the car. If you don't, that's very, very hard.
Lucky we are not hitting a very hot weather this weekend, so maybe lucky for some other cars.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the temperature seems to be quite cool this weekend. You know, there was some rain overnight, and today there's clouds and
Yeah.
20, I think in the low 20s at the
Yes,
moment,
and
22, 23
22,
degrees.
23, I think.
So yeah, so nice temperature for 24-hour racing. I think if it's over 30 degrees and sunny, then it's a lot more difficult, especially managing the tires and managing the brakes.
I guess a little humid this afternoon compared to, very hot weather. Okay. Is there any, influence in racing, the humidity?
The humidity is just, I mean, if as I just mentioned, like if you have AC in the car, that doesn't
Yes.
really affect you. So you have, that cool air that is helping. But if you, yeah, I mean,
With that AC?
the humidity really affects the Formula, the open car racing. Because if you're driving, for example, the Super Formula or Formula One, when they go to Singapore, when they go to very humid locations,
Yes.
Malaysia, Brazil sometimes, it can be very, very hot, and it can be also very humid. And then you sweat a lot more, and then that sweat can drip down from the helmet into your eyes. And when that sweat is dripping into your eyes, then that's when it becomes tricky, because you have to be like wiping it with your glove. But you're busy. There's a lot of things going on. You're pushing buttons. You're driving the car.
Yes.
And so yeah, depending if you're fighting for positions, if you're in a race that's you're very busy.
What speed is it?
Well, it
Comes
can
to
be,
the
if you're
Formula.
coming to Formula One, you can be doing
Yeah.
340 kilometers an
Yeah.
hour and still like wiping your sweat.
Can imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, the helmets have been designed to improve ventilation. So obviously there is that, but still, when it gets super humid, it's you cannot avoid that.
Yeah. So, compared to that kind of situation, today in Fuji is a pretty, calm and nice. I think it's
Exactly.
suitable for the race.
So we have the car number 3 now, the ST4 Endless Sports GR86 coming into the pits. They are currently in 3rd place in the ST4 class. They're going to change driver.
GR86. Changing the driver.
Yeah, they are, so the car number 884 is leading that race from car number 41, and then they are in 3rd place, but they're 4 laps down. So no major risks here, because they're also 25 laps ahead of the next competitor.
Yes.
So they can this is the Team Impol car, but Bertrand Baguette just jumped out, and who is going in now? We're going to see.
So it's going to be the last driver for this machine, is he?
Yeah, I think they're now heading into the 1 hour and 20 minutes to go. The STZ class can clear that, no problem. I think that's just the window for them. The STX needs at least maybe 1 hour and 10, 1 hour and 15 for a stint. So I think they're going to come in sometime in the next 10 minutes.
So car number 20 STZ coming on the 3rd for the class right now.
So we have all the main drivers from Super GT. The superstar drivers are in the cars right now. In the STX class, we have Gamo driving the Rookie
Yes.
AMG, and then Motojima in the Kensetsu AMG, and then Kazuto Kotaka driving the Denso Lexus RCF GT3, and then Kakunushin Ota driving the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes AMG GT3. So those top four are currently drivers that are driving from Super GT.
Yes.
And then in the STZ class, we have Hiranaka leading the pack in the Shade Racing GR Super GT4. And then followed by Hiroki Yoshida in the Saitama Green Brave GR Super GT4. And then Kazuki Hiramine, the Calsonic, well, not used to be Calsonic, but now Team Impo Marelli, and Naniwa Denso Team Impo Z car, now in third place. See Jiro-san now.
Jiro-san.
このチームの中では一番若いので、夜中3スティントを乗りました。
So he took a 3 stint in STQ92.
He mentioned Ichiban Wakai,
Yeah,
so
he's the
they're
youngest.
all the youngest team.
Yes.
まあ他のレース乗ってるんですけど、まあでも GT4 今回ジェントルマンの方でもプロでもみんなが乗りやすく速く走れるようにっていうので開発やってます。
そうですね、これがこう完成すれば世界中にこのスープラの GT4 が出ていくわけで、そういうところでは何が一番こう注意したっていうか、この開発途中っていうことをコンセプトに持ってのもっとなんかいつもと違うんじゃないかなと思うんですけど。
そうですね、まあ24時間でしかわからないことも結構あって、まあ単純なことですけど、やっぱり24時間乗って疲れない、まあ車の中の快適性だったりとか、まあ速さを見せる分にはそのプロとアマチュアの方で求める部分がちょっと違うんですけど、まあプロの方が乗ってもアマチュアの方が乗ってもなんですかね、乗りやすく速く走れるのをコンセプトにやってるので、
Interesting to see his comments here. He's talking a bit about the differences of drivers between the pros and the amateurs, and
実際はよくその森蔵さんが言われる
how some amateurs are able to drive at a good pace.
Yes, with the comfortability.
Yeah, just looking after the car, but the pros can make a little bit more difference in the STZ class. He drives, just to remind everyone, he drives in the Super Formula, which is the fastest series in Japan. He drives in the Super GT 500 as well. So he's used to driving very, very fast cars, and to jump in, in a GT4, I think it's, it's pretty much like driving a road car for him. Very, very different feel compared to what he's used to.
残り1時間ちゃんと最後和樹先輩が責任を持って最後走ってくれるので、そこでのフィードバックも今後の開発に生かして走っていければと思います。
最後チェッカーまで検討に乗ります。
ありがとうございました。
以上です。
Good to see a smile there from Kenta at the end. He seems a bit tired after the long night, and for sure almost approaching now 23 hours of racing. So yeah, one of the key Toyota drivers in the GT, in Super GT in Japan.
Yeah, he was telling that Kazuki Nakajima will be wrapping up this race.
Oh, well,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Really? Okay, that's great. Kazuki Nakajima still can drive. I'm sure he can still drive very fast. He's now the team principal in Toyota Gazoo Racing in Europe in the WEC series. So let's remind the STX class, the gap is now down to 14 seconds.
Wow.
Between the rookie racing and the Kensetsu AMG driven by Motojima, and Gamo is driving the rookie AMG. So that gap is ever decreasing, getting smaller and smaller. We're about to see the strategy for the last stint, so that's going to be the key point of this race. Is when they come into the pits, who is going to change tire, who's going into the car. That's going to be a key point of this race. And in the STZ class, we have two cars also in the same lap. The now leading the race, Katsuki Hiranaka in the shade racing. But following him, Hiroki Yoshida in the Saitama Green Brave in the same lap. So that's another battle that we can hopefully see something happening towards the end of this race.
And goes to...
And then in the other categories, we have some larger gaps. In the STQ, is much larger. It's a 30-lap gap from the leader car, now leading the car number 92, the GR Super Racing Concept, now driven by Keizo Kato. So they are comfortable ahead of the Nissan 230. So they should, if there's no issues, they should be able to win this race. Then the ST1 class, there's only one car, so there's the KTM.
And he's a leading machine of the ST2 on the
in the
live.
ST2, that's the car number 13. That's currently leading the Endless Sports GR. Arisu.
Okay, car 19 Porsche was made a pit in to just refill the fuel.
Yeah, so they're currently third place, and if they pit only for fuel, no driver change, no tire change, so they're really trying to put some pressure here on the top two teams. But they are, let me have a look at that. They're 2 laps down, so there is no concern for the top two teams. They can, they can rest assured they will be in front of them after the round of pit stops. It's car number 31. You see some marks of the tires over, like, all over the car.
Back to the course. Yes, top team, Zonsen Rookie MG GT3. 1 hour and 12 minutes.
So that gap is going down for sure. So the gap is now 12 seconds between Gamo and Motojima. Motojima is really closing that gap. It's good to see. This is what we wanted. This is what we wished for yesterday in the broadcast. So we're having a battle towards the end of this race.
Yes, and making this last one very exciting.
I really hope that Motojima can stay in that car, because he is at the moment the fastest driver on track. So if he remains in that car, then we will see a battle towards the end of this race. So it will be down to that strategy. What, they're gonna pit soon, and then we will see if there's a driver change or not. And when you're heading into the final hour of a 24-hour race like this, and you're leading the race, and and you have a car that is maybe 12 seconds behind you, there's a good amount of pressure there because, you know, it's the end of the race. Everybody is tired. Everybody has already done their job. You know, this has been a really good job so far to be leading the race to this point. But you have to keep pushing. That's another hour left, and you have to keep pushing until the end. And when there is pressure from a car behind you, it's so hard. So this is really interesting to see.
Yes. So the STZ class, the top two are, you know, the gap is like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just checking out the timing here.
Car number
the
885.
gap is
and
down to 3
52.
seconds. It was much bigger a few laps ago. So I wonder if at the pit stops one of them didn't change tires, or like maybe the Green Brave did not change tires, or they had a much faster pit stop. Or maybe there was trouble for the car in front during the pits, or for some reason they closed that gap. So there is a good battle also going on in the
Yes.
STZ class for the final hour.
So Hiraneka Katsuyuki will run through till the end. And Hiroyuki Yoshida on car number 52 has to go into the pit to change the driver.
So okay, so that's what's going on, and we don't know. So apparently that gap was so big. I mean, it was a 2-minute gap until a couple laps ago. So that gap decreased suddenly, and the Green Brave will have to pit again. So we know now why that is.
Yes.
So I think that leaves Katsuyuki Hiranaka a little bit comfortable in the lead with an hour remaining. If that gap is going to be back to where it was before, I think he will be much more comfortable at the front. Now let's go back to the top two. The gap is down to 10 seconds. So you see here on the screen, this is the car number 23, Motojima. They're showing him because he's putting on quick laps, quick lap after quick lap after quick lap, and he's closing that gap. It's now down to 9 seconds, 9.5 seconds. And yeah, he's closing that gap to Gamo. Now he's coming through a lot of traffic here for the A corner, for the starting the second sector of the lap. Has to pick his lines very well there. It's tricky to go around on the outside when there is so much rubber on the outside. You can't go too wide because you pick up all that rubber, that's used rubber that's on the side of the track. And if you collect that on your tires, it's really is annoying because your tires are so hot, and your tires will pick up all that rubber, and it will really make it hard for you to go around at the same speed.
So for the car number 23, Yuya Motojima is nearly driving for 3 hours already. So might have,
They will have a driver change.
Drivers change very soon.
So perhaps the rookie racing here, they have a little comfort in their mind that Motojima will have to get out of that car, of the 23 car. So I think that's the comfort that they might have in the back of their mind at the moment, because when you see that gap just closing down every lap, the pressure mounts on, and now it's staying in this lap for 9.8 seconds. But yeah, we'll soon see the pit stops.
Yes. So less than 10 seconds of the gap between 1 and 2. One hour and 5 minutes.
Approaching the final hour and approaching the pit stops for the STX class. So is Gamo going to stay in that car? And Motojima will probably have to get out of the car number 23. So that is going to be the major key point of this final hour.
23 is pitting in.
Yep, he's coming into the pits.
It's how amazing they've been driving for 23 hours and only 10 seconds gap.
So let's watch this.
Yes,
Let's see,
and,
is
this will
there
be
a
the key.
driver ready to jump in? Yes, there is.
Saitama Supra ZT4 is now in the pit, car number 52.
Driver change as well. Yoshida is jumping out.
Hiroki Yoshida is out, and
Yamazaki.
final driver Yamazaki is now.
Final round of pit stops for the mechanics as well.
Yes.
So they must be happy.
Okay, the car number 23, Motojima.
Motojima out. And now we will see who is driving that car. Look at the amount of rubber. There's so much rubber on the inside. So we'll see as he crosses the line into the first lap, he comes through.
Round of applause for the Motojima at the pit.
Yeah.
And we have a Daisuke on TKRI, Matsunaga Kansas AMG GT3, car number 23.
Daisuke is
yes,
now.
gonna be the final driver.
So Daisuke now has a big shoes to fill in, because Motojima really, as they are also mentioning in the Japanese broadcast, he's been the driver of the race so far. He's been doing very, very well to close that gap, to really put the pressure on the rookie AMG. And now change driver to Daisuke and see whether can he still put pressure on Gamo, because Gamo will have to come into the pits. So we will see after the round of pit stops, we will see what that gap will be. Before it was 9 seconds.
Yes.
So will they come in this lap? No, they won't come in yet. They will have to come in. And the other question now is Gamu, is whether is he going to stay in the car or not. So this is all the strategy of the teams. All the drivers have a limited amount of time that they can use in the race. So when it comes down to deciding before the race, you can regret later what driver you had in which stint and whatnot. In the last stint, they wanted to have Motojima in the last stint, but they chose it this way to play out their strategy. And so that's all part of the 24-hour strategy.
So let's take a look at the Class STZ. The Shea Racing GT Supra GT4 is leading this STZ, and driver Katsuyuki Hironaka is wrapping up this race.
Yeah, so
and
he's staying in the car.
1 lap's gaps between the first and the second of the STZ.
Yep, the Saitama Green Brave is in second place, and then followed by the Porsche 718 GT4 RS, driven by Takeshi Suehiro, and they are fighting for the podium with the Naniwa Denso Team Impulse Z, which is currently in 4th place with Kazuki Hiramine, and I'm sure Kazuki is pushing very, very hard to try to close that gap and finish on the podium. It would be a great result for them in their first appearance in a 24-hour race.
So now we have less than 1 hour of this 24 hours race.
59 minutes as we see Mazda Spirit Racing coming into the pits. The STQ class, car number 55, they have some issue there for the final hour.
So now here is ST4, car number 884 GR86.
Also Shade Racing. So Shade Racing in 2 different classes. They're leading the race in 2 different classes. Shade Racing, actually, they have their garage, their headquarters is actually inside Fuji Speedway.
Oh,
so,
okay. So it's kind of like a
this is their
based on
home track. So they're installed in the facility next to Rookie Racing. So you know, Fuji Speedway has been renovating recently with the hotel that's been put in the final corner. It's a beautiful place. It's changed the look of the track, and also Rookie Racing, the new facility just on the 3rd sector. You can see it on the left side as the cars come out of the chicane. As you're going up the hill, you see Shade Racing and Rookie Racing. They're both side by side. So, you know, you can claim that that's a home race for them.
So now we have our car number 1. Gamo is in the pit.
Yeah, so will there be a driver change? That's the big question. And let's see the gap after the pit stop. Doesn't look like there'll be a driver change. I don't see anyone ready.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, we have the Panasonic board right in front.
Yes.
No, I don't think there is a driver change. There is no driver change. So Gamu will stay in the car. They are getting ready to change tires.
Tires and final adjustment for the machine, I think.
So if he has fresh tires, I think he will be strong in the end of the race. But we will see that gap as he comes out of the pits.
And here is a kind of a 33 Craft Babu Racing MG GT3. Oh. GT2.
This is at the chicane, so approaching sector 3, but he can't continue, so it's kind of a 28 that spun out. So but luckily no intervention, no safety car, no so we're clean, continuing the race.
Yes, back to the race. Okay.
Oh, we did.
Yes, Giuliano Alesi
We
is
did have a driver, but
yeah, Czech's driver.
I was looking, I was trying to see if there was because we had the Panasonic sign in front of us, and I couldn't tell really because I didn't see a foot
like
of a driver coming out of the car, but the board was right in front of us. So
he was hiding.
It was hiding, so I couldn't tell. But Giuliano Alesi is now in that car, in the rookie AMG GT3, so he is going to finish the race.
Okay, he's going to be checker driver.
And
how do you see this?
So yeah, so I think in his hands, I think the rookie racing AMG has a good chance to just to bring it home now. The gap seems to be big enough to be comfortable ahead. So they have 1 minute as it was in the last time around. It's 1 minute and 51 seconds. I think after the round of pit stops, we will see what the gap will be. He will have to cross the line once, and then we will see. There's Chio-san.
レースに復帰して、そしてそのスティントを終えた千代選手に来ていただきました。もう途中まで本当に圧倒的なねリードを保って、それでそのままゴールっていうのはみんな信じてたと思うんですけど、やっぱりレース24時間レースということはこういうアクシデントがあるということで、大きなですね修復リペアしなきゃならなかったということで、時間かかってしまいましたね。
そうですね、やっぱり24時間何も起きないっていうのは結構難しいですね。これだけの台数走ってますし、いろんな方走ってるんで、僕らはちょっと接触の前から少しエアコンの調子が悪くて、結構暑い状態でドライバー走ってたんで、そういったのも関係したのかなと思っていて、しっかりね車直してもらったんで、まずはね24時間のゴールをね目指したいなというところです。
He mentioned that there was some issue with the aircon in the car, and it was getting hot in the car, so that may have some influence on when they had the accident.
So they were leading the STQ to 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, he's mentioning the aircon again.
作っているので、窓が開かなかったりとかする問題があって、
couldn't open the window.
時に結構ドライバーしんどい状態で走ってたので。
So tough on the driver, and yeah, Chio-san, he does look a little bit tired after the big night, and yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we were not broadcasting when that was happening to them. So, but yeah, it's good to have the word from him.
西本の走力でもリアセクション全部交換してというところで、今そこではもう本当に問題なく走れている状態ですよね。
そうですね、ちょっと当たり方が悪かったみたいで、リア結構ダメージが大きかったんですけど、しっかり直してもらって、今は車しっかりちゃんと走ってるんで、なんとかこのままいけると思います。はい。
So the problem with the rear they had earlier is all like recovered.
Yeah, it looked like there was some damage to the chassis. So I mean, it was quite a big hit yesterday with the in that Nissan Z car, and unfortunately they had to retire early on. So the mechanics could not fix that damage in time to put the car back on track.
So Ronnie Clintelli will be finishing this race, and that was the interview for the driver Chio.
But good to see Chio in the race. Early on, we had Kenta, also Ronnie Quintarelli in this race, Bertrand Baguette. We see Alesi as well. We had Tomoki Nojiri. We were talking about Tomoki Nojiri early on. You know, the multiple times Super Formula champion driving. You know, so it's great to have that kind of drivers in this race, because then it really brings the level up, and it's a mix of professional and amateurs for sure, but when you have that caliber of drivers, you really have to start thinking about your driver lineup. So all the teams have to consider that there are some really good professionals doing this race. So let's talk about the gap now between the STX class. It was earlier, it was 12 seconds before the round of pit stops. And as I mentioned, we had to wait for Alesi to cross the line once and see the gap after the pit stops. It's now up to 29 seconds. So it's a comfortable gap going into the final 50 minutes of the race. I don't see the Daisuke in the Kensetsu AMG closing that gap. At the last time around, Alesi lapped at 1 minute and 45 seconds. Daisuke also in a 1:45 seconds in this lap, so he just crossed the line, and it's a similar lap time, but he would need a lot more to close that gap.
Yes.
This is the Shade Racing, car number 885, that is currently leading the STZ class. So what a good result this would be for Shade Racing. Imagine if they can win in both classes, in the STZ class and in the ST4 class, which they're currently leading. In the ST4 class,
Yes.
kind of a 645, Teppei Tsuruta, currently leading that race, and the gap is 3 laps, so they're comfortably ahead in that race. Have big reason to celebrate after this race, winning both classes. Let's not jinx it. Let's watch it to the end though.
So this is a 5th on the ST4, kind of a 216.
This is the leader of the race, Rookie Racing. Giuliano Alesi is driving that last stint.
Yes.
The gap is now up to 31 seconds.
Some of the fans from overseas might not know his father is a very well-known Formula One driver.
We all know him.
Yeah, we all know him. And mother is a very famous Japanese actress.
Yep.
Yes. And it's really good to see him, driving so well in Japan.
Yeah, and Giuliano,
Yes.
Japan is sort of a second home for him. He speaks Japanese.
Yes.
So he really found himself at home in Japan. It's the racing here. I think it's one of the the great places of. I mean, I can speak for myself and for other drivers, foreign drivers that have come to Japan, who really enjoy racing here because the cars are so fast. The competition is so high, such a high level in the Super Formula, in Super GT. So it's great to be able to drive on such great tracks like Suzuka, like Fuji, like Motegi, like Autopolis, and drive high-level series with, competitive, super fast cars. So I think Giuliano really enjoyed coming to Japan and driving this kind of cars.
Yeah,
so
a lot of fans of him in Japan too.
For sure, for sure. The gap is going up to 35 seconds. So
True.
yeah, Giuliano is safely increasing that gap. So I think bar any trouble, they should be able to bring this home.
Yes.
46 minutes remaining.
Yes, Giuliano driving very fast for this last 1 hour.
Yeah, the lap times are quite a big difference at the moment. So Giuliano is lapping 1 minute and 43 seconds. did just 2 laps now, 43.5 and 43.6.
Yeah, almost like 4 seconds.
And Daisuke has gone 147.7 in the last lap, so that's a 4-second advantage. So you see, so now you see how big of a difference a driver can make. Because in the final stint, in the second last stint, we could see Motojima really closing that gap on Gamo, and he was closing and closing and closing. The gap was down to 9 seconds. So he was really putting them under pressure. And now the situation has reversed into the final stint of the race, and this is all down to the strategy.
It's very interesting part of this, 24 hours enduro. It's kind of like a relay of the race, but
it's playing chess.
Yes,
it's like
true.
the team managers and like the teams have to make the decision before the race, or they basically put the structure of the stints together before the race and decide which drivers are going to be starting, which drivers are going to be driving more at night, who is better at driving at night, who's better with less traffic, with more traffic. And so then they decide, but then when it comes to the end, there's always a little regret. Oh, maybe we should have used this driver here or there. But yeah, this is 24 hour.
Yes. Lots of small strategies among the teams affects a lot at the end.
For sure, yeah. So yeah, so that gap is ever increasing now to 38 seconds. So I think yeah, so they should be crossing that line first, and then we have in the STZ class, we have Hiranaka leading in a shade racing GR Supra, ahead of the Saitama Green Brave. The Saitama Green Brave is a lap down. So there you see the shade racing we were just mentioning. That's that that beautiful new structure, right, brand new structure that they just built. I believe they finalized it last year. So looking really good next to the Rookie Racing building, which Rookie Racing also looks amazing. It's a great facility. And anyone that is driving at Fuji Speedway can see. So they can drive their cars out of the workshop and into the track if they want to.
Wow. Which is like one of the best spec racing course in the world. Yes.
Yeah, so we have someone. I think there's a slight penalty here for the car number 76. He's
ST5. Penalty on a pit work.
right.
That will be the final pit for the kind of 120.
Yeah, so
Master.
in the ST5 class, so this is car number 120. They're in third place at the moment. But in the ST5 class, the car number 573, driven now by Hiroshi Nakamura, is leading. And they're followed by Shinichi Umura in the Mazda Roadster. That gap, let me see. No, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm looking down here. So I'm looking at it. Sorry for that. That's actually Tobio Otani is leading that class in the car number 613, and followed by Sena Kuronomura in the Roadster. They're both in that same lap. So 1 minute and 38 seconds the gap.
Yes.
So that's still possible if there is an issue for the leading car.
Yes, between car number 17 and 65.
Exactly, yeah.
Here is the car number 28, Rookies Racing, GR816 CNF concept.
That is car number 13 that is leading currently first in the ST2 class, Endless GR Yaris. And there we see that car again.
Yes.
We see the highway.
Car number 11.
the highway roadworks. That car is the sensation of the social media. Everyone talks about it, and that's the coolest livery on track.
Probably the racing team is from Hokkaido.
If you are a foreigner and if you don't know what we're talking about, the yellow car that was following on the straight, the car number 11, that car has the livery of one of the cars that are doing the roadworks on the highways in Japan. So when you're driving behind it, it's very odd for all the drivers on track to see that car on track. So it becomes very funny, and that's why that car is so popular on social media.
And the car is, I mean, like racing with the MG and
Exactly,
and stuff. That's really interesting.
When you see that car, you kind of feel a little bit cautious because, like you don't know there's something going on. This is a racetrack though, so that's a, that livery is quite funny. So let's point out that the gap now from first to second, Alesi to Daisuke is now 48 seconds.
Yes,
so closing to 1 minute gap. So it's Rookie Racing, I believe, have this in their pocket. Let's hope that no troubles arise for the final.
We'll never know.
37 minutes.
Yes, complete.
We really never know, because we remember many years ago when Toyota had the dramatic issue in the final lap of 24 Hours of Le Mans, stopping without a gas in the final lap. In the final lap, I believe Kazuki Nakajima was driving the car at that point. And that was a real heartbreak. But that moment symbolizes 24-hour racing, because you see all the hard efforts, everything has been put into the line, 24 hours done. But there is one lap to go, and one lap, things can happen in one lap. So, and they run out of fuel in that last lap. So it's that's really, for me, that symbolizes racing, 24-hour racing.
It's really tough. Yes, we have 36 minutes. 15 here.
Second.
So second up, yes, SD3, Okabe Jidosha.
Look at the amount of rubber that we were mentioning earlier.
Increasing more and more, even this 1 hour.
More and more.
Yeah, big gap is.
That is car number 39.
Yes, 39 took our champion twice in the past. Car number 28 from the STQ. Rookies GR Hachiruka had a bit of a crash and was in a pit. But back to the race course, and Daisuke Toyota will wrap up the race.
Kind of a 28.
Yes.
They're currently 5th place in the STQ class. This is the leader of the ST3 class. Number 39, driven by Shinya Fujita, Winmax RC 350 TWS.
So such as car number 25, 26, Raffini Nissan, they are coming out for the checker. Yes, but apparently the car number 25, the frame was like bended so badly.
Exactly, yeah. So that's what we were mentioning earlier, like the accident involving Sugio Matsuda early in the race. We saw that he came into the pits with, you know, we had on the footage, it looked like a tire blew up, and then he came into the pits. But then we realized after we saw better the car during the pit stop that there was some heavy damage on the rear section, and that was an accident in the final sector. And they had to, I mean, I think that's incredible if they put that car back on the track now. That's incredible because the chassis was damaged.
So now gap between our car number 1 and a 23 is nearly 1 minute.
So now really in the final half an hour of the race, with the gap at 1 minute as it is, I think the priority for rookie racing and for Alesi, for Giuliano at this moment is really just to look after everything, to control, to make sure that he can just bring it to the end, because the pressure from Daisuke is not there. The gap every lap is about 2 to 3 seconds, sometimes even 4 seconds per lap that he's increasing. So there's no real need to push too hard at the moment. Negotiating traffic now is, you know, you got to be careful, and you see how much difference of speed there is between the cars. And we see again that the highway
Yes.
The high works car there has a little bit of damage apparently on the rear right side. There's something hanging out from there, but yeah.
I can see this. So the gap between the STX first and the second became more than a minute now.
Yeah, it's just really bring it home now for Giuliano. It's a countdown now for the last half an hour of this race. We're into the final 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes remaining now.
Yes,
So
now remaining 30 minutes. So the Super Taikyu Championship Round 2, NAPAC Fuji Super TEC 24 hours race. We have less than 30 minutes remaining time. Most of the drivers are checker, yes?
yeah, well,
Yeah?
I think everybody has been,
Yeah.
you know, done a good job. As we mentioned earlier, there were no major incidents in the race this time. We've seen no safety cars, which is a first for me in a 24-hour race. We've seen full course yellows, but we haven't seen a safety car, so which is quite impressive.
So one other interesting match is, I think, between the STZ second and the third. The gap is not so much between.
Yeah, the gap is 1 minute and 47 seconds, so it's they're in the same lap. So yeah, I mean, it's just something that they're aware of. They don't want to have any trouble. The Saitama Green Brave is currently in second place ahead of that Porsche 718 GT4. But I think there's no trouble at the moment. And as we see Sakon Yamamoto in the back, and you see Yuhi Sekiguchi as well, and Kazuki Nakajima there. They were teammates in the past. I was teammates with Kazuki Nakajima back in 2005. So we're looking back at, what, 19 years ago.
Wow.
He was my teammate in Japanese Formula 3. And we were both driving for Team Toyota Toms. And I had the privilege to win that championship, and Kazuki finished second. And he went on to drive in Formula 1 with Williams Grand Prix. I think you remember.
Yes.
You know, that time Kazuki has done a very solid career also in the WEC series, where, you know, they won the 24-hour of Le Mans, and here he is. Now today he's a team principal for the WEC team, but in this 24-hour race he's also a driver for the GR Supra Racing Concept, car number 92.
Yes.
I'm sure he enjoys to drive after a while. Every racing driver likes to be in a race car.
Yes.
I couldn't think of myself not driving a race car to be in an office, you know, managing other things about the race team. But yeah, Kazuki has been doing that, and now he's here. Now he's going to drive the last
Or the
30
motorsports
minutes.
fan in Japan, and not just only in Japan. Love to see him finishing up this race in 24 hours. So actually, the gap between the number 1 and the 23 is more than 1 minute. Is that something that, like, number 23 can do for this?
No, I mean, you know, really, this is down to issues. At the moment, Giuliano has a very comfortable lead
Yes.
of 1 minute and 10
Even-
seconds, 12 seconds at the moment. Has just Daisuke just crossed the line. The gap is increasing about 3 seconds a lap, so there is no
Yes.
resistance there.
Keeping the very
There
good
is-
speed.
Yeah, Giuliano is easily controlling that gap. So, as we were mentioning earlier, you know, maybe if in the car number 23, if Motojima could be driving at this plumb moment, we
Yeah.
would have a different scenario in the end of this race. We would have a much more feisty end to this race.
Yeah.
But you know, they run out of time with Motojima-san, so that's the strategy that they chose to use. And here we're on board with Daisuke Toyoda.
Yes, and a fifth of the SDQ on board.
You see a big box there of cooling.
So 54,700 people are here in the Fuji Speedway.
54,000.
Yes, taking.
That is very.
That is the.
There is a very good number. There's a big attendance
Yes,
for the weekend.
Yes, the biggest in the past, biggest in the history.
The biggest in
for
history.
7
So
years.
that really shows how much this race is growing in Japan and in Asia. Has become the main 24-hour race in Asia, and this is. And it has potential to grow more and more and more. And you see people barbecuing there.
Yes.
This is the spirit. This is the spirit of 24-hour racing. You come to the track, you hear the cars. There's cars that you like the sounds, but also you need food.
Yeah.
You need to eat.
This is something that you'll never experience anywhere else.
You know, and when you go to 24-hour races abroad, and you see so many people, you see fans, you see, you know, I have a little story that I would like to share. Once I went to Le Mans, and I arrived there, and I remember arriving at Le Mans station, and I didn't have a drive. I didn't have anyone expecting me at the station, so I had to take a taxi to go to the track. But there were so many people that were waiting for taxis to go to the track. I actually shared the taxi with 2 fans that were from the US. So they were from the US, but they were at Le Mans for the main 24-hour race of the year. But they knew everything about the 24-hour race. They knew a lot more than I did.
Okay,
Every
so
car,
they were very big fan
every
of
detail, the engines, whatever the cars were running, and they were saying that they were not there for the first time. They had been many times before, so they are passionate fans of 24-hour racing. So this is what is incredible about 24-hour racing. It brings a different type of fan also compared to F1, but the 24-hour race really brings all kinds of fans into the track. And when you get there, you see lots of things happening. You see there's hospitality centers with people playing music and food and simulators and dancers and people singing and artists playing. And so there's a lot of things going on at the event. And this now we see on the big screen now 54,700 people.
It's an increase of 116.4% compared to last year.
That's incredible. So a round of applause.
Thank you so much for visiting Fuji.
That's really, really incredible. That's a remarkable amount of people that come to this race.
Yes, I believe there are so many people from overseas as well, because now we have so many people from overseas to visit in Japan for some purpose.
Yeah, and this is not Golden Week. Imagine if this was Golden Week, we would have, we would have even more people, because most Japanese fans can really enjoy more free time on Golden Week, and they can go there. But during this, 24-hour race, that's a record number of people, 54,700 people attending the race this weekend. This is the Daishin GTR.
Yes.
So we saw, remember, we saw in the first stint Kyoto Fujinami driving that car, and he took off. He drove a really good first stint. But we haven't seen, it seemed to be a little wobble there on the rear coming out of the last corner, but we haven't seen what happened to the car. Maybe they run into some issues overnight. They had some trouble, mechanical trouble, or whatever happened in that car, but they're down many laps.
Yes.
So they're down 25 laps. So they're completely out of contention, but nevertheless, they're in 5th place overall.
Okay, there's a driver's change for the 81 Daishin GTR GT3, and currently Ryuichiro Oyagi driving, and here's the driver's change for car number 81. Oyagi Nobuyuki is wrapping up this race for car number 81 GT3.
Ryuichiro Oyagi is leaving the car. So, are they related? They're probably related.
I think so.
Yeah. They're brothers.
Have to find out. So Oyagi.
That's the rookie racing car number 32. H2 concept is in the garage, and that's the team manager, Hiroaki Nishiura. They're talking to the drivers, to Kenta, and now we have the car number 11. Are they coming for a driver change? So the gap from Giuliano to Daisuke is now 1.5 minutes. So he's just really needs to bring it home. It's yeah, still 3 seconds a lap faster than Daisuke. So no worries, nothing to be worried about. It's just a few more laps to complete this race, and a great race, great strategy by Rookie Racing, by Rookie AMG GT3. They have some great drivers in that team, and they were able to control the strategy and come to this point of the race and make a difference right at the final stint.
And that comes to the STZ Saitama GVGR Supra GT4. And now currently second for the STZ. So 1 lap gap between the first team of the STZ, car number 885 Supra.
The only other class that is battling in the same lap currently is the ST5 class. The gap between car number 17 and 65 is 1 minute. So that's the other class. That's actually the closest gap that we have at the moment in the same class in this race. There we see car number 92, driven by Kazuki Nakajima.
Yes.
Son of Satoru Nakajima.
Yes.
A family with great heritage in motorsports. Once, when I first came to Japan, I remember really looking up to Mr. Satoru Nakajima, and we all respect him for what he has done for motorsports. But Kazuki is now following the footsteps of his father, and really is really interesting to see how they're involved with different manufacturers, because Satoru has a history with Honda, and Kazuki now building a history with Toyota. So really incredible to see that family heritage in motorsports.
So now, less than 15 minutes in the race.
"15 minutes more to complete the longest race of the year. In 24 hours, they do a lot more mileage than we do in the whole year of Super GT
Wow.
racing. So, you know, it's really a big toll on the body, for everyone, for the mechanics. You know, I'm pretty sure that after this race, everybody is going to just lay down in their bed and go have a good rest. They all deserve it.
So the lap is 764.
I am pretty sure that 764 laps is the new record for Fuji 24-hour race, because if we haven't had any safety cars in this race, then I think there is no interruptions and there were no major incidents. There was a little bit of rain overnight, but it wasn't for too long. But so they're approaching almost 800 laps.
Yes.
That is a lot.
Yes, the overall so smooth.
Exactly. That is a lot of laps.
Yeah, here is a SD5. They have Demio, they have Roadstar, they have Fit.
Car number 4, currently in 4th place in the SD5 class, the bride fit. Yuya Ota driving.
So it's obviously we can see the speed gap, you know, in this cloud.
Yeah, from you mean from the difference of
Yes.
classes, right? Yeah, I mean the STX class, they do approach the end of the straight at close to 270 kilometers an hour, there or thereabouts, between 265 to 270, and some of the other classes are even less than 200 kilometers an hour at the end of the straight. So that's a big differential. I see car number 11 there flashing the lights.
Yes.
What is happening is, I think everything is under control. He's just cruising around. 11 minutes to go.
So two Roadstar from the Mazda is driving.
That car is moving under braking. Yeah, the Mazda Spirit Racing in two different car shapes, you see.
Yes, all the machines that retired for this 24 hours, restarting the engine and heading to the check.
Is the rookie racing going to come back into the race? And we see Morizo there is talking to the driver that is in the car. Who is that in the car?
So Ogura was driving till now.
It's so great to see. You see how you know, Akio-san,
Mhm.
Morizo, as we call him in the racing world, but he's there laughing and enjoying the end of this race after 24 hours. This is a project that Toyota is doing, a concept car, but he is there driving, enjoying, having fun with the team, with all the team members,
Yes.
and that's really what it's all about.
Yes.
He's having fun. He's talking there with photographers, with team
Yes.
players, team members, and so on. So great to see.
Yeah,
Great to
actually,
see.
he's kind of like an icon of the team and always give us lots of entertainment.
Exactly, yeah. So he's really passionate about motorsports, and that really shows whenever we see him at the track.
Yes, and whatever he does actually enhance our, our new cars and new drivers to become strong and for machine to become strong. That's very good.
Yeah, this is he's part of Japanese racing heritage, and it's yeah, really great to see.
All right, we have 8 minutes and 45 seconds.
So what we just saw is the car number 23, Daisuke. He got lapped by Giuliano Alesi in the car number 1. So there's a lap difference now between them. So he just this race approaching to the end, and now we see car number 32 leaving the pits. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, look at Akio Morizo complimenting all the mechanics who were working in the car, thanking them. This is the spirit.
And Ogura-san is driving.
This is great to see.
End.
This is great to see his appreciation. You saw him there with Kondo-san, Kondo Masahiko Machi, and they are having a great time, despite, you know, the car had some issue, but
oh, Sasaki driver is driving.
Yep.
Yes.
And there we see Akio-san, Kondo-san.
It's good to see all the smiles on their face.
I wonder what they're talking about there. Must be something funny. Seven minutes remaining.
Amazed. Kondo-san is 60 years old this year.
Is he 60?
Yes.
I think I thought he's like 57 or 58, but I could be wrong. I know him for a long time, and my first time working with Kondo-san was back in 2007. So I grew up, and I have seen him grow up also, grow up more and more, become, you know, older as a team manager, more experienced as a team owner, team manager, team owner, team director. So yeah, I have a great respect for him. 6 minutes remaining.
So we have all the racing order of the class here. Let's take a look. So as we were seeing STX, we have our car number 1 and car number 23, and then followed by 31, 33, and 81. STZ.
Yeah, in the STZ class, that's the shade racing that's leading. Katsuki Hiranaka in the car number 885, followed by car number 52. Now driving Manabu Yamasaki, followed by car number 19, the Porsche 718 GT4. Now driving Takeshi Suehiro, followed by Kazuki Hiramine, in the new Adenso team in Fuji. We have an announcement. Wow, car number 25 is driving out of the pits.
25 and 26 is out on race course.
I think this is more of a symbolic thing, that the spirit of repairing the car and sending the car back on the track really sends the spirit message of 24-hour out there, because they are not fighting for the win anymore, but they're going to repair the car and they're going to put the car back on the track. So great work by the mechanics. The chassis, remember, the chassis was damaged yesterday, so they had to repair the chassis.
So ST1, car number 2. Also back to the race course.
Here's Giuliano Alesi coming through traffic, approaching turn 1. And we have 3 minutes remaining, so I think he's going to do 2 more laps as he will cross the line again. 2 minutes, yeah, probably 2 more laps to go.
Okabe Chidosha, 2 vehicles lining together.
That is car number 17 that is leading the ST5 class there. You see the white and black livery. That car is leading the ST5 class. But you see the difference of speed between classes. You see it's like being passed by all the faster cars, but he's leading the ST5.
How proud of them to, you know, to take the top in the different classes.
Yeah, I mean, you're competing only against the competitors in the same class as you. This is, you know, as we have in all the 24-hour races. As you see Kondo-san there, it's slightly different racing overall compared to Morizo.
Okay, here's the Raffiner, 25 and 26. And now 2 minutes remaining.
Less than 2 minutes to go.
Alegi is driving 1 minute 42.
Here we see now both Nissans coming onto the main straight after that long night for the mechanics repairing the chassis on car number 25. So great to see this.
Now 1 minute remaining time for the Super Taikyu Championship round 2.
We see
NAPAC Fuji Super Tech 24 hours race.
Yeah, we see identical cars there overtaking on the straight. They're like battling for ST5 in the ST5 class. And this is Giuliano Alesi in the last sector. He's going to cross the line for his, I believe this is going to be a final lap or probably, let's see. I wonder if they're going to
30 seconds.
Once the time finish, then he will cross the line and the race ends. Final lap.
Yeah, final lap for Alesi.
won this race.
Yes, and round one of the Super Taikyu this year won our position for the STX.
A home race for Rookie Racing. This is where they have their workshop, so they'll be celebrating for sure this one very much into the final few corners there. Last sector for Giuliano Alesi, just really bringing it home. There's quite a bit of traffic in that last sector, but he's going to clear that and finish this race. What a great job by Rookie Racing.
Yes. So this will be the first victory for the Giuliano Alesi.
First victory for him in the 24 hours. So what a great result, a great stint by him to finish this off. A great job by Rookie Racing all race to play out the strategy, to do it right, and to bring this home. What a great victory for them. And now,
so now the top checker.
And now, one thing I want to point out is, like, as you see, he was driving over the rubber on the inside of the track, right? And this is something that engineers usually ask the drivers at the end of the race, because usually when you drive over the rubber, you pick up a little bit of weight in the car, and and that helps in case there's any problem at the end of the scrutineering. You want to have a little extra rubber in your tires. You know what I mean? So it's not a big secret, so I can let it out. And yeah, you see now the ST3 winner coming into the straight, and now we see both Toyota, the car number 32 and 28, crossing the line together.
Wow, everybody's waving with their flags. And Okabe Jidosha, a checker with the two vehicles together.
Car number 885 and 884. So 884 winning in the ST4 class, Shade Racing. And you see, this is interesting because we see all the cars that are teammates, the teams finishing the race together. We just saw the Nissans, the 25 and 26 Raffine. Now they're both crossing the line together. Now car number 17 and 37, ST5 class. Car number 17 winning that race. The DXL No Pro Mazda 2, driven by Tobio Otani. And now we see again more teammates crossing the line. Car number 88 and 89. Also in the ST5 class, they're going to cross. Car number 88 finishes third place. Amamiya Keiji in the Mazda Roadster.
So at the end, made a one whole lap gap between car number 23. That was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking earlier, the key point of this race would come down to the last stint and who was driving the car in that last stint. So Rookie Racing had Giuliano Alesi, and Kensetsu AMG GT3 had Daisuke, who was not up to speed compared to Motojima-san in the stint before. So Motojima was really closing that gap, putting that pressure on the Rookie AMG GT3. But then in the final stint, Alesi was in the Rookie Racing and could make a difference. Celebration for Rookie Racing in the home ground.
Yes.
There's Kondo-san
Okay, here's the interview.
笑顔完全に焼き付きましたやっぱりこの人
Of course, they might have a interview very soon, I think. So no matter what class are, the same teammate are, coming back together. It's really good to see this.
It is great
Yeah.
to see. It's great to see this. As we pointed out earlier, the shade racing, they were able to win in 2 different classes. They were able to win in the STZ class with the shade racing GR Supra GT4, and they were able to win also in the ST4 class, the hands of Teppei Tsuruta in the final stint, car number 884. So double victory for them.
Yes, double victory.
$773 laps.
Wow. So 3 machines from the rookie racing at the front.
And there is the Denso 92 that is driven by Kazuki Nakajima in the final stint.
Thank you.
It's Morizo saluting everyone in the team. And then we see the cars coming. We see Kondo-san there.
Yeah, we have Latvala here.
Latvala is a Toyota rally driver coming to this event.
Mm.
As the cars will make their way into the box, but from the other side, they do a U-turn and they come through the tunnel of people.
Wow.
In the pit lane. This is the only time of the year.
High touch.
This is the only time of the year that you can drive that pit lane going that way.
Oh, really? Yes. Well done.
Kondo-san looks happy.
Yes, everybody look happy.
He's happy for everyone.
Yes.
I think he understands after 24 hours at the driver's side as well. He is a driver this time around, so he sees from a different perspective, and yeah, I think it's great to see. Look at how many people are there in that pit lane.
So those people are involved in this race, and imagine how many people involved in this race.
He looks really happy.
So they are going back
They're going to Park Fermé, close to the podium. There's the Daishin GTR. It does look like Kondo-san is having a blast there. He seems really, really happy. And there is a traffic to do that U-turn. Everybody needs to slow down because that U-turn is not easy. That's Giuliano Alesi celebrating the 24-hour win for rookie racing. That's his first win.
Yes,
Second year in a row that that car wins the race, but that's the first year that Giuliano takes his victory in the Fuji 24. there is the cap that is going to go to the winner, the Bridgestone cap. And there's a car that's half open coming here.
Yes,
It's,
you cannot open the side window.
Maybe it's very hot in the car, and the driver needs a little cooling.
Yes.
After that, and you see Morizo there saluting everyone that's coming into the pits, including here the Porsche. It's really, really nice to see this kind of atmosphere.
Yes,
and you
very
see
festive, you know, the atmosphere.
the car number 39, all the cars on top of the car. Just be safe, guys.
Like a parade already.
There is a parade. The Lexus flag. They're waving that flag, and is a home victory for them. There's a Mazda.
Mazda, yeah.
It's a Civic Type R. And that is our most popular car of this race. That is the Highway Roadworks livery. That one gets the attention. And that's number 21. Shade Racing winners.
Supra 86. It's got an Air Buster, the sponsor of the racing team.
Yeah. See the drivers of car number 39 celebrating a lot there. They're all on top of the car, and they won in the SD3 class. Another Type R. And Morizo saluting everyone.
Yes.
This is the Yaris.
Yaris, yeah.
There's a lot of different cars, different concepts, different, different types of fuel. So very interesting kind of racing for everyone. A chrome livery from Honda. Very, very cool. This is another Mazda Roadster.
Yes.
And the Supra, car number 52, that finished second place in STZ class. Another Civic. And Morizo is there to salute, but he's turning the steering wheel into him. He is very happy. Everybody is happy. Everybody finished safe. Happy times.
Craft bumper, 33.
Lavala also enjoying. You see how he is smiling. I think this is a great atmosphere to end the race. Another Mazda. ST5. Another Mazda ST5. And a teammate behind.
ST5, car number 17, became the third champion.
All cars are through. It's Kondo-san. Big, big round of applause.
Yeah, for the Sasaki-san.
For finishing the race. That is one of their objectives in that concept car.
Yeah.
His laughs all around. Everybody is laughing. Hiroaki Shiura there, the team manager this time around. He is a driver in Super GT, but yeah, so this time he is behind the pits. winners in the ST2 class.
So this STQ is always good to see, the concept cars enhancing the futures cars, futures drivers, and it's always good to see these kind of things in this race.
Innovation, yeah. I mean, this is some things that are being tested for the future, some things that they are still evaluating whether to bring it to the road cars and so on. So, there's a lot of innovation behind this, and this is the purpose of this race for them. So concluding the race, sometimes with new things and things that they're doing, for road cars, that's a success for them. So, so that's why you see Morizo there saluting the engineers, the mechanics, the people around, everyone, because he's really happy that successfully they could conclude this race.
Always enhancing.
ST5 class, car number 17, who is the winner.
Yes,
of the ST5
3 times
class.
on load.
I think all the drivers are going to get on board too.
Yeah.
They can open the back door, so that's a little easier. I think the engineer is also getting a ride.
Really a parade. Congratulations.
There is 6 people in that car. I don't think they could ever fit that inside. So they're on it, they're in it, they're... Drive slowly, please, guys. Third place,
Yes,
will continue to push next year, he said.
So the season in total, the points are very high in this Fuji.
For sure, yeah. So there's a difference of how they give away points for a 24-hour race. It's the same in the WEC, because obviously if you put in the percentage of how many laps you drive in the year, this is the most by far. So I think the amount of points should be given by a whole lot more.
Yes, it's very meaningful for them to win. Green break.
Yoshida, he's the current champion in Super GT 300 class in the Green Brave. This is Naoki Hattori. He is the team, he is the race director in Super GT. So he's overlooking the driver morals and so on. So he's a driver here for the Green Brave as well in this race. I'm sure he still enjoys driving race cars. And winning, finishing second in this race, so a great result for them.
So we have a lot of messages through the chat as well.
We do?
Yes. And thank you very much for streaming in English. And we're looking forward to have a 24 hours English broadcasting next time.
Well, yeah, that is going to be a very long stint next time around if we do the 24 hours.
We need a team member.
We need some food around here. We need maybe some pizzas, and we can maybe take on the 24-hour. But it's really great to see. The atmosphere is there. This is such a great event. It's growing in Japan. This is the biggest 24-hour race we have in Asia, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. And you see the atmosphere is just fantastic. You see Morizo there, Kondo-san there, Kazuki Nakajima there, Tomoki Nojiri there, Giuliano Alesi there, Ronnie Quintarelli there, Tsugio Matsuda there. So a lot of superstar drivers are here. They're bringing this race into a new platform, bringing this higher and higher.
Yes.
And as we saw earlier, 54,700 people attending the race this weekend, which is a big number. It's for sure exceeded, more than doubled what we had last year. So that's a big number, big increase. That tells you the popularity of the race increasing.
And also the mature racing team and the drivers, they have been driving with those, superstars for our 24 hours. That'll be a lot of confidence and lots of fun for them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So a lot of the drivers here, it's a big mix of pro drivers with amateur drivers, with more gentleman drivers. And for sure, it's a great experience for all of them, including the gentleman drivers, having that experience of racing with the pro drivers in 24-hour racing. And that's part of, like, now 7th time that we have the Fuji 24-hour race. We didn't see any major accidents this time around. The weather, there was some rain overnight, and still no safety cars. So an unusual clean, very clean race. There's Yamauchi, who drives the Subaru, and his teammate Iguchi. They both driving Super GT 300 class for Subaru. They're saluting the winning team, the Shade Racing, in their class. All very friendly. You see, they're competitors, but they're smiling and paying respect to each other at the end of this race.
We can only see this in the Super. So Subaru is challenging for the Nürburgring 24 hours. Yes? Subaru?
Yes, they've been challenging the Nürburgring 24 for many years. They have a history
coming
there.
Up soon,
Yeah.
Not soon. What month is it?
Yeah, they're in June, but that's one race that I particularly love that race. It's just so incredible, the atmosphere. Once you do 24-hour races, it really changes your mind on how to approach racing and how you see endurance racing. And Nürburgring has a different vibe to the Le Mans 24-hour, for example. The Le Mans 24-hour is the biggest 24-hour in the world, for sure, by name and by history and by heritage. But the Nürburgring 24 is, maybe for a driver, is the most difficult, because that track is so challenging. It's such a long lap with many different tricks and so on. Now we're going to have an interview, so I have to stop what I'm talking about. Let's see what's...
2024年の富士24時間レース、なんと去年の総合優勝に引き続き2年連続となりました。
2 years in row.
STX クラス
Congratulations
1号車ゾンセンルーキー AMG GT3 の皆
for
さん
making a victory for the class STX Zonsen Rookie MG GT3. Congratulations.
まずは、はい、片岡選手兼監督に伺いたいと思います。今回のレースの総評からお願いします。
そうですね、去年も優勝したんですけれども、去年はレース中に、スピンであったりペナルティーというのがあったので、今年の目標は、まずはそのノーアクシデント、ノーペナルティー。
He had a clear race, he's saying. Last year he had a spin, and he had some trouble last year, but he still won the race. But he feels better this year because I made no mistakes.
The perfect run for our team.
Perfect race. He looks very happy.
Kataoka director. Perfect victory.
みんな行っちゃうよ。聞こえます。大丈夫です。本当にノーペナルティーというところを
No penalty.
自分自身も2年目でしたけど、やはり今回も台数が多くてたくさんの車の中で走るのがすごい難しい環境の中、チームの皆さんにしっかりサポートフォローしていただきながら、
support from the other member of the team.
なんとか走り切ることができました。
And we made this because of the team.
はい、ではガモン選手。ガモン選手、素晴らしい走りが今回も見られたと思います。ご自身のレースいかがでしたか？
ということで、なしですね。
今回ペース的には決して一番速かったわけではないと思うんです
So
けど、
pace
本
wasn't
当に
that best.
もうチームみんなノーミスで、やった結果だと思いますので、もう本当に
Yeah,
チー
it
ムの
was
みん
all
なに
about
感
the
謝してます。
strategy really and how they played out the whole race. But
もう全
yeah,
て計
Gamo
算
was
通りのようなレースでした
saying
ね。
about the whole
終盤追い
race
詰められても
itself.
全然当日、ジ
That
ュニアのがやってくれるというね。
they managed
そういう計算の中で
take all the
レースができてた
boxes.
ように思います。
So have to make a balance of everything.
このチームは去年から連覇、24時間2勝目でチャンピオンシップも2連覇がかかってるけど、どう思いますか？一歩近づきましたね。
So, did you understand?
はい。じゃあちょっと日本語で頑張ります。
Giuliano is going to speak Japanese.
まあもちろん去年優勝したチームなんで、だからものすごくやっぱり自分が頑張らないといけないっての気持ちがものすごく強かったんで、今週末富士に来る前にまあやっぱりペース見ながらやっぱりまあガモさん言った通り僕らは一番速くなかったけど、やっぱりチームメイトとみんなチームの力でノーミスでノーペナルティーなままでいて、やっぱり優勝できてとても
It's really he's talking about the strength of the team.
Yeah, he had a bit of like a pressure before because the former champion from the last year.
Yeah, so
いい仕事ができましたね。
yeah, nice words there from Giuliano. He mentioned that coming into the team that won the race last year, obviously there's some amount of pressure on that, but he managed that very well. And Gamo, who is the driver that has more experience in that car, whenever he came into the team, you could see Gamo is really fast in that car. But it's not really about being fast, it's all about having the complete teamwork and package for the race, and that's what they excelled this time.
では最後に社員ドライバーの鵜飼選手にお願いしましょう。たくさんのファンの皆さん、そして社員の皆さんも応援されていると思います。最後に一言メッセージをお願いします。
はい、今回も、無事2連覇ということで、目標達成できました。ルーキーレーシングとしましては、自分たちは勝つ車で勝利を目指してます。あとはやっぱりこれからももっといい車作りということで、カーボンニュートラルのこともありますし、今後のルーキーレーシングの活躍も楽しみにしていただきまして、本当に引き続きよろしくお願いしますというのと、本当にありがとうございました。
はい、おめでとうございました。レースだけ
He's
じゃないも
only
んね。
employee driver in this team, and for the enhancement of the carbon neutral and for the car, they have to push more towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Congrats to Rookie Racing for taking this victory for the second year in a row.
What a great atmosphere!
Exactly. Yeah, it's a job done, the feeling of job done for everyone. There's a lot of hard work that goes into the preparation of a race like this. When you approach a race like this, and then we see some heartbreaks early on in the race, like we saw for Nissan.
Yes, for Pine.
Both cars in contention, both cars out. So there's always those heartbreaks, but in the end, the spirit of 24 came back when they both sent their cars. Both cars came out of the pits in the final hour to drive the final part of the race.
So the car number 1, Johnson Rookie MG GT3 was very strong.
Yeah, they really won the race on the pure strength of the team. So they ticked all the boxes for this race. And we see the drivers there so happy, celebrating, playing with the camera. Everybody's in good spirits. And yeah, the cars are all lined up on the main straight. Still, we see another interview coming up.
So there's an interview for the STZ 885 Shade Racing GR Supra GT4.
Winners.
We'd like to hear a lot of like interviews, and we'd like to have a look at this atmosphere from, you know, maybe another hour or something with the ceremonies and everything. But we have to close this live streaming in 1 minute.
1 minute.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, I mean, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for following the 24 hours of Fuji. Thank you for being here with us. You know, it's, yeah, unfortunately we can't keep going for much longer,
I
but
know.
really appreciate everyone watching and following this race with us.
And definitely it's getting more popular and popular. And next year, a lot more people watching this streaming
Exactly, yeah.
from
Spread the
different
word, guys.
countries.
Spread the word. Spread the word about the Fuji 24-hour race.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for, again, for being here with us. And see you next year.
Yes, and stick to the Super Taikyu Championship 2024 season. And we'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oliveira-san, and
Thank
I was
you,
Rebecca. I enjoy a lot.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.